Hey guys, I'm Whitley. This is my very first video. So today we're going to talk about the 8 things that I like the most about living in China. But because this is my first video, before we get started, I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. So I am 26 years old right now. I will be 27 in March. I have been in China for 3 years. All 3 years I have lived in Shenzhen. I have done some traveling around different cities in China. I've been to Chongqing, Beijing, Guilin, so many cities around China. I've been to Hangzhou, Shanghai. I've been here for 3 years, so I've traveled a lot. I am from Indiana in the USA. I worked for about a year after college and I wanted to travel, so I decided to come here. And I am an English teacher. So that's a little bit of background about me and about the reasons why I came to China. So now I'll introduce the video. This video, like I said, we're going to talk about the 8 things that I like the most about living in China. And before I start, I want to make some blanket statements that all of these things are my personal experiences, and that doesn't mean it would always be the same for everyone. I mean, it depends on a lot of things. So it depends on if you're a boy or a girl, where you came from, what kind of environment you grew up in. Like, I'm from a really small town and I moved to like a mega city, so that was a huge difference for me, so something I needed to get used to. So that being said, let's get started. The first thing that I love about China, probably the biggest thing you might hear a lot of travelers say after they come to China, is it is so convenient. So we have WeChat. WeChat is kind of like Facebook in America, but it's so much more than that. On WeChat, you can call and message people. It's like what people use instead of text messaging here. So you can call, you can message, you can pay for anything using your WeChat. You link it to your bank account and you just pay for food, you pay for groceries, you pay for everything. You pay for anytime you go out, like most likely you can use WeChat. So also there's Alipay, it's the kind of the same thing, so you can also use Alipay. Depends on what city you're from or what city you live in, but I live in Shenzhen, so we always use WeChat. Okay, the next thing is you have food and grocery delivery. So I know this is becoming a bigger thing in America as well. It wasn't when I left, but that was 3 years ago, so it's changing. But the food delivery is so cheap, so fast. Like, we order food sometimes like for dinner and it gets here within 15 minutes. I'm not joking, that's so crazy. Also, it's very cheap to get your dinner or lunch or breakfast delivered. So it's way cheaper than in America. It's really fast. You can order anything. It's not just like select restaurants. It's almost anything you can order to go and they can deliver it right to your door, which is super convenient. I will say it does make you a little bit lazy, but overall it's a good thing. So the next thing is you can also get your groceries delivered. You can use the same app that you get your dinner, lunch, breakfast delivered from, and you can order groceries. So I prepare my food for the week ahead of time. So I put a lot of thought and a lot of time into my grocery shopping before, but this year, after 3 years of living here, I finally tried the grocery delivery service, and seriously, it saves me so much time. I love it. I don't even have to like leave, and they bring everything to my door. So sometimes they will run out of something and then they call you and they say, oh, we don't have this vegetable or we don't have this product, and then they ask you if it's okay if they change it or if they take it off your bill. You do need some Chinese skills for that, and most of the time I just say okay, and then I'm not really sure what I'm getting, but usually it's pretty close. But anyways, super convenient, worth a few little items being maybe a little bit different, but whatever. It's always worked out for me, and again, the delivery fee for that is so cheap. I think that many groceries delivered in America probably would cost you at least $20 just for delivery, but here, how much was it last time I ordered? I think it's 6 RMB, which is less than $1 for delivery, and it comes so fast within the hour. So that is something that's really convenient. The last thing I will say is very convenient here in China is the transportation. So we have Didi, which is basically the Chinese version of Uber, and it they do have an English version of the app, so that's really convenient, and they will come to pick you up wherever you specify and then take you wherever. It's just like Uber, but for China. It's super convenient, and it's also very safe. So it's very regulated, and I feel pretty safe. And they always record the trips, and they record your location, so it's pretty safe, which I'm really happy about as well. Okay, also they have the metro here, or the subway as I believe we would call it in America. Like I said, I'm from a small town, so we definitely don't have the metro or subway in my town, but the metro in Shenzhen is so convenient. It will take you almost anywhere. It's honestly, I think if the metro is faster than driving or taking a taxi, and it's so cheap. So if you drive somewhere, usually there's a lot of traffic, so it will take you a while. But if you take the metro, it's so direct. You can get to anywhere in the city. It's very cheap. You can go from one end of the city to the other end. Probably costs you at the maximum like 20 RMB. I'm not really sure how much that is in USD, but it's almost a 1-to-7 ratio. It's changed a little bit, so it's about a 1-to-7 ratio. So 20 RMB is nothing, and you can go anywhere you want in the city for basically nothing. So that's really convenient. Also, from city to city in China, they have the high-speed train, and I'm just wondering why we don't have this in America. I know we do have some kind of like fast trains in some cities, or from one city to another. It's very it's pretty rare, but here you can get to anywhere by high-speed train. And in my opinion, if you take the high-speed train, it's pretty much going to take you about the same amount of time as if you took the plane. Like literally the ride is longer, but the amount of time you save by going to a station that's close by not having to go through like security and like all the baggage checking and all that stuff, it saves you a lot of time. Plus, the train goes to most towns, and as an airport would only go to, there's only airports in big cities, you know. So for example, when we go to my boyfriend's hometown, if we take the train, it takes a while, but it goes directly to the town like next to his tiny hometown. If we take a flight, we go to Hangzhou, and it takes a 2-hour drive from Hangzhou. So the time ends up being like pretty much the same, and you can save some money. And you also, my favorite thing about the train is that you can see the landscape of the whole country. When I first came, I came to Beijing, and I took the train all the way to Shenzhen from Beijing, and I got to see the whole country. It was amazing. I had just gotten here, so it was a really good experience. So the first thing that I like about China the most is the convenience. The next thing is the low cost of living. So like I said, I live in Shenzhen. It's a mega city. It's huge. It's so much bigger than my hometown, but the rent is almost the same price. So like if you're comparing a very small town in America to a huge city that's super convenient, like super urban, the prices are about the same, which is crazy. So if I lived in a huge city in America, the price would be outrageous. Like it would be double or maybe triple the price, maybe even 4 times the price. So it's really cheap for rent here. And the longer you live here, the more you kind of understand like the way the renting situation goes. You know the best neighborhoods where you can get the best apartment for the cheapest price, and you can negotiate, and you have some Chinese friends. They can help you get the best price, make sure you're getting what you need. So that's the first part, is rent is super cheap. Also, the food is super cheap. So to compare, I would say you can have a really nice dinner out here for like $30. Like I'm saying really pretty nice. Fancy restaurant, good food, like high quality, clean place. In America, I think that the same quality of place would be at least $100. I'm saying for a couple, for 2 people. So I think it's really affordable to eat out. Along that line, entertainment is also very cheap. So the movie is like a few dollars. The food at the movie theater is so much cheaper than in America. In America, the food is the most expensive part, but it's not that expensive here. You can go to the spa here for super cheap. I think we had maybe an hour and a half spa service for $30 as well, and I think that would be so expensive in America as well. The next thing is, here you can bargain. If you go to like the markets or some small shops, you can definitely bargain with people. But I will say, I don't usually spend my time going to places and bargaining with people. I'm not really super comfortable with that. I just use Taobao. Taobao is like the Chinese Amazon. It's as popular as Amazon, but everything is made here, so it's much cheaper. It's much cheaper than Amazon. I would say a lot of people on Amazon, a lot of sellers on Amazon are getting their stuff from here, and it's marked up, you know? So Taobao is, I don't even need to go to the markets and bargain unless I just feel like going out and like arguing with someone. So I just stick to Taobao. It's super cheap, and usually the quality is acceptable for the price that I pay. Sometimes I'm like so cheap and I will spend like maybe 25 RMB on a shirt that's like $3 or $4, and maybe I'm a little bit disappointed by the quality, but that's because I'm so cheap. And if you pay a little bit more, but I'm still saying less than $10, you can get like a good t-shirt, a good sweater even. So that's just an example. The next few things that I'm going to talk about that I really like about living in China are a couple short, not as complicated things, not as much to explain, but the next one is history. So America, of course, has its own history, and I've been learning it, you know, my whole life, and I do find it interesting, but it's nothing compared to the history of China. It's just such an old place. Like, there's been people here for so long. There's so much history, and that's probably one of my favorite things. One of my favorite experiences was going to Xi'an, where the terracotta warriors are. That was my favorite trip in China so far. If you're ever here, I really recommend that you go there. So the history, I do live in Shenzhen, like I said, so the history here is not as long, but there has still also been people here for a very long time. So Shenzhen is right next to Hong Kong, and Shenzhen has always been kind of a port city into the mainland of China. So there, of course, has been people, but it just became a huge city like a few decades ago. It hasn't been a big city for very long, so there's not a lot of like their own culture or history here in Shenzhen. There is some, but it's not as much as like if you went to Beijing or Shanghai or any of the other major cities, but there is still history here. But most likely you'll have to travel around, which is totally cool because it gives you a break. Anyways, the next thing is something really small but also really cool. So the holidays in China, they have a ton of holidays, a ton of festivals, and like I said, I'm a teacher, so I get the summer vacation, I get the winter vacation, plus I get all those little festivals and holidays off, which is amazing. So you can take little trips like to Xi'an or to other places that you want to visit in China, and if the borders are open, you can also go to other Southeast Asian countries for like the weekend, or you can go anywhere from here. It's really convenient. So the holidays are frequent and good here. Also, the next thing, this maybe makes me like a huge nerd, but or maybe not a nerd, but just kind of lame, but I'm so excited about the health insurance. So I did tell you I'm working here, I'm a teacher, so I have the work visa, I get health insurance because I'm a resident here. So the health insurance, the first few times I used it, I was like, what? This is magic. You just have a job and then you get this health insurance, and it's so cheap. You don't pay that much. Actually, I think my company pays for it. I mean, maybe it's not like that for everyone, but my company pays for it, and anytime I go to the doctor, I just use my card, and usually it's covered, so it's amazing. I'm not used to health insurance being so simple, but I'm really grateful for that. Also, if you don't have health insurance, let's say you're coming here as a traveler or just short term, or you're just chilling here, you're not working, you would be surprised how cheap the healthcare is even without insurance. Like, I got a total physical here once and I paid for it myself, and it was less than $100, and I am talking x-rays, blood work, like an EKG, and all of your height and weight, eye tests, like everything. So it's super affordable, and that was the most extensive test I've gotten done since I've been here, and it was still less than $100 for all of those things. I'm pretty sure in America, just an x-ray alone might be like $500 or something. I'm not really sure, but I think it's expensive, so I'm very grateful for that. So the next thing, which is probably pretty obvious to you guys, is the food. So, I've heard a lot of people say that the food here in China is so much different than the Chinese food in America. I don't exactly agree with that, so I will say there's so much more food here. I think the Chinese food in America is it's just so like such a small group of people. Just most Chinese, I don't want to generalize, but I think most Chinese people who are doing food in America, they're from a few specific provinces or regions, and so the style of their food would be more similar. Also, they definitely Americanize it, you know, like maybe wouldn't be interested in it if it was super traditional or just like they made it at home. So they Americanize it, and so in that way it's a little bit different. But the biggest difference for me is that there's just so much more here. There's so many more options. You have all the different provinces that bring different spices, different kinds of cooking styles, different things like that. So, like, of course, like the fried noodles, fried rice, dumplings, they're gonna be pretty much the same in my opinion. But if you come here, you have more. You have like Chinese barbecue. You have like barbecued fish, which is my personal favorite. It's amazing. I really like. There's one fish that's roasted with pickled vegetables. I know I'm really weird. I like sour pickled vegetables, but that fish is so good. That's something that I've never seen in America. There's also hot pot, which I know we have in America, but maybe only in big towns. So hot pot is amazing. And then there's like 70 million different kinds of hot pot as well. I would say the thing that I really have come to like a lot that most people probably wouldn't try in America is it's called zhuduji. I might not be saying that correctly, but it's a soup made with pig stomach. And I don't really eat the pig stomach, but the pig stomach flavors the soup, and then you can it's like a different version of hot pot where the soup is cooking, and then you can put whatever you want into it. It comes with chicken. It's really good. The soup is like makes you feel so warm inside. So I really like that. So the food, I know that seems obvious, but that's one of my favorite things. I gotta be honest with you. The next thing is something pretty simple, and I won't go into too much detail, is the fashion. So I'm from, I know I said this a million times, but I'm from a small town in America, and I would say 100% we are more casual. I don't know if it's a city versus country thing, but in America we're so casual. It's totally normal to go out and see people like in like yoga pants and big hoodies and stuff, and that's great. I also do that. Like I still do it here sometimes. But it's not very common to see it here. And if you do see someone in gym clothes, they're like coming from the gym. Usually, they're like they just got done working out or they're on their way to work out. So I will say, being here has definitely forced me to like step up my my style, my fashion sense, I guess. Like when I go out, I would not be as likely to wear workout clothes if I'm not going to work out, because I feel like the girls dress so nice here all the time, always wearing dresses, always wearing like nice flowy beautiful things, and most of them are so beautiful, like everything like fits them so nicely, and it just makes you want to like step up your game a little bit. So you're not the only one at the supermarket like wearing yoga pants and like messy bun. Also, I will say this is one specific thing. I always wear the wide headbands like for working out or if I'm just feeling lazy, but I've never seen someone wearing that here, and I feel some shame when I wear that out now. And also my boyfriend will notice it, and he's like, oh, what's that? He's cool about it, but anyways, that's something different. So the fashion game, I think, is pretty good here. I think girls dress really well, and it makes me want to step up my game, like I said. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is China makes you adapt. It makes you let go of things and let things be, and it teaches you how to just take deep breaths and let things happen the way they're supposed to happen or will happen. You cannot you cannot be like a control freak here, I think, especially in the big city. And I'm guilty of this. I try to control situations. I also used to try to control people, but I've moved on. I've learned a lot from that. So now I just sometimes, if I'm a little bit stressed, I try to control situations. But you can't do that here. People are, especially in the city, and again, this might be just like a city thing also in America, but people are working, they're busy. They don't have time to wait for you to translate the metro signs or figure out what groceries you need. Like, they're moving, you better be moving too. And so not just that, like the food is there's not much. I mean, there's always Western options, but of course it's more Chinese food, so you get used to the food. The language is very difficult. Just the culture and the lifestyle, while it's very good, it's very interesting and very good, it's very different than from home. So I think some people come here and they just expect, you know, like, oh, I went to Europe and then I came to China and I was just shocked. It wasn't the same. Yeah, it's not the same. Some people, I think, they just can't handle it, and that's okay. Since I came here, I've always like tried to keep an open mind, and don't get me wrong, I do get stressed out sometimes by just different things like the crowds or something like that. Like we don't really like line up here. We just kind of crowd around and like not push, but kind of, you know, wedge our way into places and stuff. And it did bother me sometimes, but I'm really used to it now. So China really, like, it really forces you to keep an open mind. And if you can't keep an open mind, I would say you wouldn't be very happy here, because it is different than home. And there's a lot of things that you don't know about it until you come here. So you really have to be adaptable. But I think it's 100% an amazing thing, because I think everyone needs to get out of their comfort zone, because that's how you grow. So that being said, those are the 8 things that I love so much about living in China. And like I said, these are my personal experiences, but everyone's experience is different depending on your background. So thanks for watching my very first video, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.